Last month, a channel viewer expressed the hope and wish that Saturn and Mars transiting opposite Putin's Pluto in the early days of this month of April would serve to stop him. Well, in a sense, this conjunction of Mars and Saturn opposing his Pluto did exactly do that, however, not nearly as thoroughly as we might have wished. Rather, it would seem, mostly in the sense that Russia has now shifted its forces toward doing battle in the eastern part of Ukraine. Now, that this is definitely not a win or a good look for Putin is without question, since his much vaunted army has been revealed to be lacking in competence, even while acting like murderous thugs at the same time, which I suppose is par for the course, given that Vlad, the leader, is himself a thug and a murderer, and his competence is also now in serious question as well. Astrologically speaking, his problem is that this type of transit often hits the same spot more than once due to the forward retrograde movement of transiting planets. And so when we look at our ephemeris, we note that although Mars will not conjoin Saturn anytime soon, Saturn by itself, opposing his natal Pluto, is more than enough to deal him another significant setback, especially during periods when it transits close to a station, which is what will happen this October, even if the precise degrees when his Pluto gets opposed are actually in August, and then again at the end of the year and into the new year 2023. What this tells you is that the period spanning from midsummer until the early days of winter is going to be especially rough for Putin, and in reality, by way of a separate but very valid astrological rule, from now until late July-August isn't much better, because once a planet begins the transit, meaning the opposition which happened in early April, it is effectively in that aspect until it fully contacts those degrees for the final time, or therefore until at least next January. Right now, Putin is reacting upon the somewhat diminished pressure of Saturn as it moves forward in degrees and finds the trine to Mercury, giving him the illusion of order and control. And since the early June station of Saturn at 25 plus Aquarius radiates strong trine energy toward Mercury, he is a lot more likely than not to continue trusting his planning and organizing skills, and therefore stick to his belief that he is on the right track through chaos, murder, and mayhem. But while this Saturn trine is happening to his Mercury, the concurrent proximity to the opposition to Pluto means he is operating within the same constraints as earlier this month, so that the outcome is just as likely to be unsuccessful by dealing him further setbacks. Of course, the problem is that in the meantime, this utterly vile thug is causing enormous suffering as he engages in daily genocide. And yes, it is definitely genocide, and Joe Biden is entirely correct to describe it as such. And more than that, Joe should be calling out this man as the murderous thug that he is every single day and in as many ways as possible. If we view the trajectory of this war through the lens of Putin's chart, then look for the combination of Jupiter and early Aries together with the Saturn station at 25 plus Aquarius, which happens in early June, to coincide with news that isn't good at all for Putin. Although since stations cast their influence well before and after the exact hit, really by mid-May and then all the way to August, the transiting energies of Jupiter and Saturn are both unhelpful. And from there to year's end, not much changes. So essentially, May 2022 to January 2023 may seem to Putin like some kind of brilliant expansionary journey, when in fact he is slowly but surely digging his own grave.